So, Life is Strange is one of those games where you don't really know what you're in for. One of those games where you could just sit back on a Saturday as the sun is setting and explore this beautiful world with all these unique and endearing characters. It's one of those games where once you put it down after a session, you just can't wait to pick it back up again. You just want to solve all the mysteries of Arcadia Bay. You want to see Chloe and Max just vibe out like the real best friends they are. Or you just want to see where the story is heading and what lies ahead for our characters. Everyone has much more to them than what meets the eye, and everyone makes you feel something different when interacting with them. It's why this game is so good. You feel for Kay Marsh when she's crying about everything that happened recently. Chloe's anger is justified and understandable after everything she's been through. Even a prick like Nathan, he's a brat, but he has mental problems clearly, and has no one there for him. Everyone in Arcadia Bay has something beyond the surface level that they're dealing with. There's so much more examples, but right now we're going to pick things back up at the start of episode 3, Chaos Theory. This is actually part 2, so I suggest you watch part 1 on my channel first if you haven't already, just so you're not confused. So we wake up from a probably very uncomfortable nap and see that Chloe texted us saying to meet with her in the front of the campus because she has something to show us. It's crazy how easy it is to just sneak off this campus, but anyways, people are still shocked over what happened with Kate, to say the least. We talked to Dana about the whole situation, and she tells us that apparently Victoria snuck off campus too. Again, I didn't know how it was this easy until I saw our principal was drunk as a pirate, just sitting on the steps talking to himself. Max tried to walk past him, but he's slurring his words and tells us to go back to our dorm. So we get to become Max the Ninja, her words, not mine, and sneak past him. We start walking to the front of Blackwell, and then... Booyah! Chloe, really? Did that scare me? Maybe a bit. You know what's scarier? The fact that Victoria is trying to seduce and threaten Mr. Jefferson all within the same 45 seconds. She literally goes from, it'd be fun to have me and you in Seattle all alone, to, it'd be real tragic if people found out you wanted favors from me. That gave me whiplash. So Victoria's trying to win the Everyday Heroes contest at Blackwell. Because, like, you know, they're in a photography class and stuff like that. And Victoria, being the ruthless girl she is, she'd do anything to win, even threatening her teacher. So Victoria is she's an interesting character, to say the least. She does terrible things, of course, and at first glance is a pretty bad person, but if you look beyond the surface level, you realize that she's just a determined teenager who needs a reality check, or who needs to realize that not everyone is coming after her, or that everyone is against her. She's a pretty troubled kid with big dreams and thinks that she has to be ruthless to get her way, which is a fault on her parents more than her, but more on that later. So after Jefferson and Victoria leave, Max and Chloe successfully sneak into Blackwell and are trying to get into the principal's office. Yeah, the same principal who was extremely sober on the steps. Now, none of the keys that Chloe stole from David opened the principal's office. So Max's first thought, and listen to this, is to call Warren and ask him how to make a pipe bomb. This is a high school student, by the way. So we're looking around for the materials to craft, and it's just the classic stuff that we all used to do when breaking into our school in the middle of the night. So we make the bomb again to Principal Wells' office, and Chloe and Max look around for, like, files and any clues we can get on Rachel Amber, because, it's like the main reason why we're here. You also find a ton of cash in one of the drawers, and you can let Chloe either keep it or not. Now, me, I wasn't going to let Chloe just steal this money that was supposedly for people in need, if I remember correctly. And also, I just didn't want to get caught, so yeah. We leave the same way we entered, broke, and Chloe has the great idea to break into the Blackwell swimming pool. Maybe I'm just not fun at parties, but swimming in the middle of October at like midnight sounds kind of crazy to me, but hey, we sneak into the pool and take a nice swim with our best friend. And like always, the conversation that Max and Chloe have when they're just chilling together is always so nice to see. They're just genuinely vibing, and there's no stress about the Prescotts, no stressing over Rachel, no sense of impending doom over the tornado that will literally wipe out the entire town. Just two friends talking and vibing. So after our otters are out the water, our fun gets cut a little short when Max and Chloe are almost caught by David as he's just searching around the school for some reason at midnight. I'm assuming like a little silent alarm trip or something. I have no clue. But we run to have to play the hide from David minigame. No, not that David. But we'll make a video on The Last of Us if you guys want me to. After we successfully get away, Chloe takes us back to her house to hide out for the night. We wake up in Chloe's bed and get photobombed, or photo-hogged. And one of my favorite scenes in the game is this moment right here. Chloe and Max just laying down with a beautiful song playing that I'm 99% sure I can't play on YouTube, but you get the feeling. It's just a really nice, relaxing moment where you, the player, doesn't have to get up or move until you're ready. I don't know, I'm just a sucker for these kind of scenes. It gives you the same feeling that you have waking up after a crazy fun night out with some of your closest friends and you're just laying there reminiscing and just happy. I don't know how they managed to perfectly portray that feeling onto the screen in this game, but they did. So we get up and try to find the change of clothes, but before we could do that, Chloe's telling us how we have to just like let go in life and stop caring about stuff. And of course, the only way she could think of for us to do that is to just stop and kiss her. Pretty interesting choice here. I know all the Pricefield shippers who didn't know if there would be a romance in this game or not were ecstatic when they saw this option. Y'all are probably kicking your feet playing this. And I'll admit, I am one of them. They kissed. I'm not ashamed to say that. I made them kiss. I actually wonder how much people pick that option. I mean, I know there's a stat, so I should probably check that later. But this is the first time I think we've seen Chloe genuinely this shocked from something besides Max's power. So that was really funny to see. So she gives us a change of clothes, and it's actually Rachel's old clothes. Pretty interesting. And just to rub it in a little bit more, in case we didn't remember, when we go downstairs and talk to Joyce, she actually calls us Rachel by accident. Yeah, I can't blame her, honestly. My mom forgets my own name sometimes, so, you know, it happens. And then she asks Max what we want for breakfast, and she cooks us a very delicious meal. Joyce sits down and talks with us and shows us, you know, some pictures from the photo book. So things like Chloe and Max when they were younger, you know, having fun and being carefree. Photos with Chloe, Max, Joyce, and William, Chloe's dad, who tragically passed away. And, you know, photos like that. So Chloe comes downstairs and makes a little excuse or distraction, I should say, so that Max can sneak into David's garage and, you know, just so she can snoop around a little bit and see what she can find. So we look around David's garage for a little passcode to open his laptop, and when we get it, we can find some pretty weird things, I'll say. Like him taking photos of Rachel and Amber with Frank. But honestly, this one, I don't know if I could blame him, because if I saw a 30-year-old man hanging out with a 16-year-old girl, I would probably be a little suspicious. But besides that, he was doing some other very weird stuff, like taking photos of Kate Marsh. He has things like Max's school reports, you know, things like that. So a lot of weird stuff he has lying around. And also, did I mention that he has surveillance cameras around the entire house? This is not even his house, by the way. It's Joyce's house. And she doesn't even know about the cameras. No one does. Literally has cameras set up like this Rikers Island. I can't believe this. So after you see all the files and things like that, you head back up to the main room. And that's when David walks in. And of course, he's very pissed because someone broke into Blackwell last night. And Joyce definitely knows it's us. I like how Max and Chloe just like pretend like they don't know anything. So David hits us with a little snotty remark like, "Oh, figures you'd be here." Like, bro, who are you talking to? I don't know why he hates Max so much, besides the fact that we call him out on all his BS because, I mean, yeah, he's a weirdo. So, you know, a little argument ensues between, you know, Chloe and David, and then Joyce gets in a little bit as well. And then they give us one of the worst choices I think I've ever seen in this game, honestly. I'm not trying to hate on Don't Nod. You guys did great with the game, but you could either side with Chloe, so basically, you know, go against David, or you could go on David's side. I know people, you know, say they like David and that he's redeemed by the end of the game, but at this point in the story, I don't really know what you could honestly positively say about him, but hey, to each their own. So if you did, I'm not trying to disrespect you at all. Please, if you did, let me know in the comments why you did. But yeah, just a little, it's a little odd. So after that choice, if you side with Chloe, then David gets kicked out of the house by Joyce because, well, he has surveillance cameras in her house that she didn't even know about. So of course she would kick him out. And then that's that. Listen, I really like Joyce here. She's honestly the GOAT, but she's just a little bit oblivious sometimes. I mean, she's going through a lot, of course. She's working hard at the diner, and she has a daughter who is the definition of a rebel. So of course that's rough for her, and she lost her husband, but I don't know how she really thinks David was, you know, like a super good guy right now. He gets redeemed later, but that's not now. So Chloe and Max head to the Two Wheels Diner because it's actually where Frank's RV is parked and where Frank himself is. So if you don't remember, Frank, he was the same little drug dealing pedophile, to say the least. Yeah, the same one who pulled the knife on Chloe in the junkyard, and the guy who apparently knew Rachel Amber before because he was wearing Rachel's bracelet, and that's actually what got Chloe pissed in the junkyard in the first place. Also, Chloe owes him a lot of money. So yeah, we come to the diner and we need to find a way to get into his RV. But there's only one problem, or I guess I should say 2 problems. We don't have the keys, and he has a very, very vicious and aggressive dog. Cute, but very aggressive, who will probably kill the 2 of us on sight. So now you need to find a way to make sure he doesn't attack them. And 2, we also need his keys to the RV. So since Max is the one with the superpower and invincible, Chloe sends Max into the diner, just to find any way she can to get Frank's keys. Now, I know I said this episode was my favorite of the 5. I do still stand on that, but this part did get just a little bit tedious. Maybe I'm just a little slow. I don't know what it was that day, but yeah, it was just a little bit tedious, with the back and forth and then the rewinding and getting the right information to make someone else open up about something so that you could go tell someone else something and figure out what they want to know and what they do know and then do it all again just so you can get some keys. I don't know, it was a little bit annoying. I know they have to find some creative way to bring some challenge into the game. Yeah, I'm glad they did, but it wasn't super annoying, but definitely could have been a little bit better. But I can't say the same for episode 5, but we'll get there eventually, unfortunately. So after you just yap around with different people for about 30 minutes, you finally get the keys from Frank. But depending on like what path you go and who you talk to, you can learn a lot about a couple people in the diner. For example, you can figure out that there's a little cop in there who actually makes sure he goes and checks on the Prescotts and makes sure that they're well. I'm sure they compensate him greatly for that. And you just find out, little things like that. I just chose to get Frank to empty his pockets so he could show us whatever it was. Completely forgot. I snatched his keys and then rewind and I dipped out of there because, trust me, I was there long enough. So we get out and then we get to the RV again and Chloe gives us the bone. So we either throw the bone towards the parking lot or onto the street for Pompidou to go get. Now I was going to make sure I did not kill this dog because, well, I don't want to kill a dog. And 2, Frank will probably kill us. So we get inside Frank's RV and snoop around a little bit, find some documents, files, notes about his drug dealing and stuff like that. But the craziest thing that we do find is some pictures and notes from Rachel Amber. So it is basically confirmed now that they were definitely into something and Rachel was hooking up with Frank. She's leaving notes about how she wishes they could run away together. There's pictures of her driving Frank's RV and doing some other things. And yeah, listen, I don't really know what to say here. Rachel was around 16 and Frank is no younger than probably 27. So it's definitely an interesting choice. Anyways, so we go and show the photos to Chloe and she genuinely can't even believe it. She starts like tweaking out and saying like why wouldn't she tell her, which is very understandable because I'm assuming that this was the person Chloe was the closest with ever since Max left. So Chloe's of course in shambles and extremely upset because, everyone left her. And she just was going through a lot, of course. So when her and Max talking in the car, driving back, Chloe starts saying some pretty ridiculous things, but honestly pretty realistic as well. She's saying how everyone left her, how the person she blames the most for this is actually her dad for leaving her. And that does sound insane because he didn't choose to leave her, of course. Max herself says this, but I know there's going to be people out there who are going through stuff, and that's literally how it feels when you lose someone they love. They quite literally left their life, not on purpose, but tragically. She knows deep down that he didn't just walk out of a door and leave her, even though that's exactly what she said. But he is unfortunately gone from her life now. Everything that's been going horribly in her life since that day, she blames it on him. So Max goes back to her dorm and sees a photo of her and Chloe when they were just little kids. And now, for somehow out of nowhere, Max figures out she can time travel just by looking into photos. So she travels back 5 years to when she was 13 and also travels back just hours before William is killed in the car crash, or minutes actually. So you have to do, quick little, well, not mini game, but quick little thing where you hide William's keys so that he can't drive. And I'm pretty sure Max just convinces him to go on the bus instead to pick up Joyce. And then doing this, we actually do get to save William's life. She's celebrating with Chloe, even though Chloe does not know what's going on. And we get little flashes of photos that are getting erased from history because Max just completely changed history. So Joyce and David were not together anymore. She's still with William, of course, because he's still alive. Chloe's having a great life, with her dad, and Joyce still being alive and getting along together. And we also see Chloe getting her first car, which is pretty cool. So we wake back up in the Blackwell field, and we look to our left, and we see Victoria. And she calls us Maxine. Yeah, I knew something was clearly wrong when I heard that. Literally almost threw up in my mouth. Please don't talk to me. So yeah, Max is also clearly taken aback by this and decides to get up and just dip. And she hops on the bus. But our bus driver is David Madsen. He just can't stay away from Blackwell in any reality. But he drives us back and we get off at Chloe's house, or as close as possible at least. We knock on the door so we can see how our best friend is doing, Since both her parents are alive and well, she should be pretty amazing too. So William opens the door and he's alive, thank God, and thriving clearly. And then he tells Chloe that we're here to see her, or that she has a visitor. And probably one of the worst sights we could ever lay our eyes upon is right there. Chloe Price in a wheelchair. And she appears to be completely paralyzed from the neck down. and then the episode ends. So my last video, I said that episode 3 was my favorite of the 5, and like I just said in this video, I do still stand on that. This episode really was all about Max and Chloe and their relationship. Everything they're going through and their teamwork. Really, I just love the moments they had this entire episode, you know? The pool scene where they're just swimming and talking, literally a few minutes later, where they're just laying close in bed. You don't have to move at all with that beautiful song playing, or even when they're kind of arguing in the car and Max is giving Chloe that reality check that she needed, that her dad didn't leave her, and that not everyone is abandoning her or hates her. And of course, you can't forget that kiss in her room. Probably the best moment of the episode. This episode was heavily focused on them and their relationship, and I really do appreciate that because, of course, we know that they're best friends and they were best friends, but we get to actually see how and why and to what extent, like, and how well they get along with each other. We did see in previous episodes just a real connection, but episode 1 was, more about them catching up. Episode 2 was them getting back into the groove and feeling that bond. And now 3 is just the almost final product of their friendship or connection, I'll say. We really see the bond and how good of friends they really are. And of course, it's only going to grow stronger and get better throughout the episodes. But this ending destroyed me for episode 3. Seeing Chloe just like that in the wheelchair just really tugs on the heartstrings. So originally, I was actually going to make one video for episodes 3, 4, and 5. But then I started writing episode 3 script, and then I realized this video had been way too long. So I'm just going to do episode 4 and 5. It'll be all together because I feel like those 2 episodes should be more combined, if you know what I mean. And episode 3 I'll just have as his little own thing, which is what you just watched. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Whatever you thought about episode 3, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, let me know as well. You can subscribe if you like, to see more content. Let me know any other games you want to see as well. And yeah, so everybody stay safe, stay hydrated, and stay loving. Peace.